Alright, we're gonna go into the mulligan, and it's gonna be that Warlock versus a Hunter. So no Shaman for Arne. He's gonna start with his Zulak, and it's all golden cards in his hand. So let's see if he also has a golden coin, because then we know.
Everything is golden.
Everything is golden. Arne is our golden boy. He has 0 losses, and it's a golden coin.
There we go. Did he play a lot of Reno? Because he's pretty rich, right?
Reno is pretty rich. Yeah, he's gonna make you rich. So he has a golden warlock, a golden coin, everything is golden. So is Arne the golden boy. We will find out. This match against Harmen is gonna be pretty interesting. He's gonna play his Zulak, and well, it's gonna be a question of board control, this matchup.
Yeah. And Arne has a huge start. He has the coin, and he could coin out Im Gangbos next turn, and playing that the abusive sergeants on turn 1 was pretty good of him. He knew that the turn 2s of Hunters are always like the huge toad or the King's Alex, so it would contest both his 2 drops. And that's so good. If you know on every turn what's gonna come, what can I do against it. And he's already so far ahead now.
Yeah, he's insanely ahead. We saw that injured Cavaldier, and then we know there is a Desert Camel in the deck of Harmen. It's that one of that's that one drop that's not gonna get any damage because of the camel, and he even draws into that Leok here. So
yeah, that's really bad for Harmen, because Arne can make such a good trade with the abusive sergeant and the Imgang boss on the Leok, trading it away, even getting an extra minion out of it. Next turn, the Defender of Artemis is gonna do a lot, and the Hunters nowadays normally don't play Unleash the Hounds anymore, or maybe only one, because it's a little bit more mid-range orientated, and a little bit playing more on curve instead of bursting them down with Unleash the Hounds.
He goes for the Infested Wolf there. He didn't need any time to decide that Infested Wolf can contest the board a little bit because of the spiders coming out of it. If it dies, it spawns 2 spiders, 1/1 spiders, and that can contest the board. But there is that Defender of Argus.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Harmen.
He needs that Huffer.
Yeah, he needed that Huffer on turn 3. Then he was not that far behind, but yeah, this is looking really bad for Harmen. The Hunter normally don't play board clears. Maybe Power Shot, but even Power Shot is not doing anything here. Arne will probably clear the Infested Wolf, or maybe even decided to go face here. But then he's playing into the Houndmaster, so I think he will just clear everything.
So he's hoovering over that Forbidden Ritual, but might want to get that out of hand. But I believe he is... he might be tapping. No, he's playing that Defender of Argus, gonna trade into that Wolf.
Yeah, the Defender of Argus gives him so many good trades, and that Voidwalker is really good against Unleash the Hounds, because it absorbs 3 Unleash the Hounds. So even if Harmen finds the Hounds, it's not gonna clear anything.
So what do you believe is the best play? Is it Desert Camel and the Huge Toad? But the problem with the Desert Camel is that it will put a minion on the board for Arne as well, because you want to play a Desert Camel against control decks that don't have any 1-drops, and 1-drops haven't fallen out of the favor a little bit with this new expansion. So there's Desert Camel got a little bit stronger, but we see a second Forbidden Ritual, and it's pretty useless right now, and he's gonna both discard him with playing the Doom Guard, and the pressure is on.
Yeah, just clear the Toad again, just keep clearing everything. Ooh, good from Arne that he last minute decided to just go face first, and then trade the minion, because it was a slight chance that the Toad would snipe off one of his 1-health minions.
Yeah, sequencing is very important, and it's good to see that Arne decided to play at first. And let's see how much damage he has on that board. It's 14, I believe, so it's not lethal next turn. But he could draw into 2 power overwhelmings.
Yeah, true, but he will probably win in 2 or 3 turns, because Harmen doesn't have any board clears in his hand. He has only like small minions. Even that camel is giving Arne an extra minion.
So, well, the second camel is not giving him any minion, and that injured Kvaldir. And I told you,
there's the first one.
Yeah,
there's the first one.
2 power overwhelmings will do it. And if Arne is really that golden boy, he will find a second, but he doesn't.
Do you just go face here and let Harmen deal with everything? Because it's turn 7, so there's no Call of the Wild coming in next turn. You don't have to be afraid of that. You have that power overwhelming burst in hand. So I think the right play here is maybe just to go face with everything and let Harmen find a way of dealing with everything.
Yeah, you don't look for answers. You make sure that your opponent has to look for them. And that seems to be the right place to go. The face of the hunter, the place where the hunter normally likes to go, the face of the other heroes. But Arne is just thinking his options through. Is it the right thing to go for the face? Yes, it is. The rope comes in and he decides to go that route.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go, because you can play it safe and trade everything away, but then you kill a lot of your own minions. And if you give the Harmen turn 8 and that Call of the Wild is coming out when you just traded in like 3 or 4 of your own minions, there is a slight chance Harmen is coming back from that.
Yeah, but we see a Hound Masses that is gonna stop a little bit of incoming damage with the power overwhelming.
But is it enough? I don't think so.
No, I don't believe it is. It's let's see. If you run your Doom Guard into that with your villager, you still have enough on the board. You still have 11 damage to hit the hunter's face. And of course, Harmen doesn't know that. He plays everything he has from his hand onto that board, hoping that he can get some damage off the board. But that power overwhelming, that is gonna do it. So no options for Harmen, only a misplay or a disconnect from Arne. Well, no, this
can also be a good mood for Arne today, and he just presses concede. But that's not gonna happen. This is lethal. He can trade the 1/1 into the camel, play the power overwhelm, and he has like exact lethal. 9 damage there for Arne, and that makes it 1-0. Really well played. Yeah, he had like a really strong start, right?
Yeah, really good start.
Yeah. He had like the dream start for Zoo. He had like 4 or 5 minions after turn 3 or 4 already, and yeah, Harmen rolled Leok instead of Huffer.
Yes, he did. And next time he has to go to his animal pet station and make sure that he brings the right animals. But maybe he thought, this week I'm gonna need some more Leok, I need some buffing, I need some more board control, and decided to leave Huffer at home. Maybe Huffer had worked too hard, had an injury. You never know. Sometimes players decide to not bring Huffer.
I think it's just a little bit karma from last week, right?
Yeah, it was pretty lucky. But Arne as well. Well, he is now with 4 games to 0 in the championship, and this lineup of his is doing pretty good. He has
4-0.
Yeah, he has played his Zoo, and he probably has an aggressive shaman, or he has a shaman to play and a rogue. And I believe that Harmen is deciding what deck to play. So you're facing a rogue, you're facing a shaman. What is the right class to play here as Harmen to get on the board, to get that 1/1?
You play against Rogue and Shaman, and I think the Zulok is doing the best against both. Because since Rogue lost the Blade Flurry, they don't have a proper way of dealing with big boards, and that's exactly what Zu is doing. Pushing for 5 or 6 minions at the same time, and forcing the opponent to clear everything and also develop something. And that's not possible anymore as Rogue, because you lost the Blade Flurry. The only way that Rogue can win is with the backstab, the preparations, SI agents, those really strong early game cards that can give you the board control really fast, even making a big Van Cleave. And we see a huge hand for Arne. Exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah, he wants a backstab and the preparation to make a huge Van Cleave. The question is he going to play it right now? No, he's going to wait for the next turn indeed, because then he can play 4 cards and get a 10-10 Van Cleave. Is there a way for the Zoo to deal with that? And let's go into that discover. It's a tournament attendee, a Flame Imp, and a Blood Imp.
Yeah, I think you just go for Flame Imp here. A good card was there, maybe even the Corruption, because if he went for like an 8/8 Van Cleave and it got corrupted, you're gonna cry like a little baby.
And he even draws into that Fan of Knives for the next turn, so pretty good start for Arne. He can even play the Fan of Knives if he wants to this turn.
Yeah, definitely you're going for it. You're making a 10/10 Van Cleave. You can kill the Zulok in 3 turns.
And he can even conceal it, so that's going to be insane. The question is he going to do that? Is he going to play his preparation and his conceal as well? He's thinking about it, because he could also make it just a 6/6.
No, it's going to be it's 10/10. Because he played Backstep, Coin, Prep, Fan. That's 4.
Yeah, it's going to be a 10/10, right?
I don't think you prep Conceal here. It's a little bit too greedy. It only gives you an extra 2/2. So it will make it 12/12, and I don't think that 2/2 is that worth it for only for 2 cards. You're wasting 2 cards for literally 2 damage, and that's not worth it. You can better save the Conceal for later on in the game. Maybe if he draws the SI agent, prep Conceal after that. So prep, SI agent, and then Conceal. And the Deadly Poison is gonna do a lot of work here.
Yeah, the Deadly Poison is great for removing that Voidwalker, and he draws into the Gaskets and Auctioneer. If he needs to draw into that Leroy and the Cold Bloods, which is another winning condition for this Miracle Rogue, then he can. But yeah, he can Deadly Poison that Voidwalker, swing the face with his 10/10 Van Cleave, and now the pressure is on the Zulok.
And even the Power Overwhelming is not enough to clear that 10/10 Van Cleave. Harmon needs another one. Harmon needs the second Power Overwhelming or an Abusive Sergeant to deal with this.
Let's see what he draws into. He draws into a Defender of Argus. That's pretty.
Yeah, that gives him an extra turn. But the Poison will clear the Flaming pretty easy, and the Van Cleave will clear the other one. Ooh, and Shift. I think you shift the face here, see what you draw.
So let's see here. You can go and clear the imp with your dagger.
Yes, but you draw first. You always draw first. See what you get. You still have the prep, so if you, and now eviscerate, that will do a lot here. Because now you can just eviscerate the Flame Imp, trade the 2/2, and just push for 10 again. And Harmon has to find a way of dealing with this Van Cleave. Otherwise, he's losing already next turn. And there's the second Power Overwhelming.
And that's exactly enough. And because of Arnie, well, he could have played that prep and conceal and make sure that that Van Cleave wasn't being attacked. But now with the Power Overwhelming, it gets removed from the board. But it's just one Eviscerate, one Leroy Jenkins away from losing.
Yeah, and we also see the gadgets on prep conceal for next turn, and then he can almost draw his entire deck, and he will definitely find the extra damage. Oh wow, he's going for the 3 damage here, and then prep conceal probably. No, not. He's just playing the 3 damage probably to contest the in-gang boss.
As Brian is coming on the board, just tempo. He wants to play as much as possible because he cannot tap anymore. If he taps now, one Eviscerate will kill him. Yes. And yeah, we can go for Auctioneer with Prep and Conceal. We draw 2 cards and have a minion on the board.
Yeah, now it's just waiting for next turn where he can draw his entire deck. Find a removal for that. And there we go. There's the removal for the Taunt. He has the Cold Blood to finish it off. And this doesn't look good for Harmon. I think he has to tap here to find another Taunt. Soulfire, it's not doing it right.
No, Soulfire is not it.
And that's it. That makes it 2-0 for Arne. And what we said before, that what was he looking for? He was looking for that really huge Van Cleave or that backstep SIH in the early game. And he found it and overruled the Zulok there. Zulok has no chance. And that makes it 2-0. And now he has to win 1 game with Shaman against one of the 3 decks of Harmon. And as we know from Shaman, by far the strongest class at the moment. So it's going to be really hard for Harmon to turn this game around.
Yeah, Arnie has 3 chances, 3 times. He can mulligan for 3 times to get a good opening hand against any of these decks. And if he has a good start, he will win with that Shaman. The Shaman is pretty good, definitely, if you have 3 chances to win just 1 game. But if Arnie wins, it will be his second 3-0, and that will be pretty big as well.
Yeah, then he would be 6-0 in the ESL Benelux Championship, and he's the only one that did that, because the other mate won both his matches with 3-2. So that's pretty good. And we see the Shaman against the Warlock, and that's actually well done by Harmen. Just pick your best matchup first, get some moral back. Hope you can win your best matchup, and make Arne a little bit nervous. Like, oh, maybe I'm gonna reverse sweep.
But Arne definitely has a good start. He has the Peddler, he has the Gang Boss, the Defender of Argus, and that Leroy Jenkins.
But we also see from Arne a really good start. We see the Tunnel Stroke, we see the clear on the Flame Imp. But the big thing is coming next turn, when the Feral Spirits is coming out, buffing that Tunnel Stroke to 3-3. I think Harmen has to coin out the Gang Boss here.
But he goes with the Peddler, and let's see what he can decide on. Possessed Villager, Grimskill, Oracle, or Voidwalker.
Yeah. I don't really like this play, because you know on turn 3 is probably coming the Feral Spirits, and the Imp Gang Boss is such a good card against the board with the Tunnel Stroke from 3-3 and the 2-3 towns, because it gives you at least 2 1/1s and it deals with almost everything.
But he goes with that Possessed Villager that he just discovered. And yeah, the Feral Spirits are definitely going to come down. They're going to buff that Tunnel Trog up to 3-3, make it a good trade against that Peddler. Because this matchup is, again, fighting for that board control, making sure that you're ahead on the board, and then you can push damage to the face. But first, it's that board control. And it looks pretty good for Arne, definitely with a Bloodlust. If he gets enough minions on the board, he will be able to push for that damage on turn 5.
Yeah. He decides to go for the totem, and I know why, because he has that thing from below in hand, so he wants to totem up, make that thing from below really cheap, and he also wants to push some damage here, not attacking the Imp Gang Boss, because he had that Bloodlust in hand, so he can deal a lot of damage in the next turn. Harmen is fighting back for the board. Let's see what's gonna happen here. Yeah, that's pretty awkward for Arne. Harmen literally played like 4 or 5 minions in 1 turn. And Arne doesn't have a proper way of dealing with this.
Oh, this is a pretty awkward turn for Arne, because he will lose his Tunnel Trog and his Wolf if he trades into that one, and that will leave him with just a totem, a spell totem. And he decides to go for that Thunderbluff Valiant. He has drawn into that second one. He doesn't need that thing from below yet, because maybe later on in the game he wants to have that taunt. But he decides not to trade with that Frostwolf, just keep it there.
I think he played the Thunderbluff here just to have the biggest minion on the board to contest the other one. But he could also decide to go for the thing from below and wait 1 more turn or 2 more turns with the Thunderbluff to get some extra buffs, or a 100% guaranteed buff. But as we said before, it's a good matchup for Zoo, so I don't think Arne is that salty about it when he loses this one.
So now the board is back into the hands of the Warlock, and the question is, what is Arne going to do about that? Well, the Tusker Totemic will help out in that. Let's hope for him that he draws into a Totem Golem.
Yeah, that's... Flame Tongue Totem is also pretty good. Especially when he draws the totem, the Town Totem there, but no luck for Arne here. He's so far behind now. He has to find the other thing from below, play 2 things from below in the same turn, and make a tempo stream from that on, but the second Argus is pretty huge there for Harmen.
Yeah, I was going to say that, because the Defender of Argus is going to make another taunt, but it's also buffing the minions, giving them +1/+1 next to them. And the question is, where do you want to place them? Is that on the left side? Do you want to buff your Argus and your Imp?
I think so, right? Because the other one are already buffed, and now you cannot trade your. He could have traded the Void Walker into the Tuskar, and then the Possessed Villager would have been buffed. And then trade into the 1/1, and then maybe play Argus on the new 1/1 and the Direwolf Alpha. But this is also pretty. He's already so far behind that it probably doesn't matter. But it are slight things that can differ in the matches where you are behind or even in the matchup.
Alright, so we see the rope ticking away. What is he gonna do? He is gonna attack face with everything he has, but now there is that Thunder Bluff. Well, it can only buff 2 minions, but it's gonna be a pretty interesting decision right now. What is Arnie gonna do about this?
Yeah, he's thinking about totem up, play Thing from Below, and then play Horse Rider, and then make some trades. But Thunder Bluff also seems really good because it gives you a 3/6 that can deal with almost everything, and it also gives you good trades on the towns. We'll see what Arnie is gonna decide here.
Yeah, he's thinking about that Thunder Bluff, but I really like that toteming up Thing from Below and Argent's Horse Rider as well. You can also get 3 minions on the board instead of 2. Yes. And you might be trading more efficiently that way. You can use your Argent Squire and your totem, your 1/1 totem into that Possessed Villager and your Horse Rider. We see indeed that, and you have the big taunt, the 5/5 minion that Harmen has to deal with.
Yeah, he has to deal with that first before he can clear all those Divine Shield minions and the smaller totems. Yeah, and as we can see, Harmen has the second Direwolf, and that's pretty huge for him because now he can make any good value trades again. Because Arnie just cleared the first Direwolf, and he's like, oh, now you have to trade all your minions into my taunt. But Harmen is just the perfect answer with his second Direwolf.
Alright.
Is he gonna play the Flame Imp? Or is he gonna play Bran?
That's the decision he has to make. He's gonna play that Flame Imp, I believe. No, he decides to switch it up to Bran. He doesn't know yet. He's thinking about it. It's a choice. Well, if you play Bran Bronzebeard, it's pretty rough if you play Leroy Jenkins next turn, but you want to use that as a finisher, of course. What cards can Harmen draw into that are useful with a Bran Bronzebeard? Dark Peddler, of course.
Dark Peddler, Arguses are already played, so Abusive Sergeant, of course, for double attack buff. Gormok, the Impaler, for double 4 damage.
Flame Juggler?
Flame Juggler, definitely, for double 2/1. One face. Ooh, and that's a pretty good snipe there.
But you don't want to play the Flame Imp right now, because then you will hit your face for 6, and that's not what you want, so...
No.
Lucky, yeah.
But that Forbidden Ritual is pretty good. 4 1/1s.
It's insane. We have a Master Evolution. Tusker Totemic could be the solution here.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, Totem Golem for Arne, otherwise it's gonna be really... Ooh, a Monetite Totem can maybe save him. Giving him some extra cards here.
Question is, what are you gonna Master Evolution? Is it the Tuskar? Yeah.
Yeah. Make it a 3, make it a 4-drop.
That is not what he is looking for. Let's see the damage on the side of Harmen. He has 8 plus that Leroy Jenkins. That makes lethal. And even with the power overwhelming, that's more than lethal. So Harmen gets on the board. He makes it 1 against 2 and makes sure that he stays in this game and keeps sight on that 2-0 in the ESL Benelux Championship.
Yeah, he's the first one who wins a game against Arne. It was looking
pretty grim.
Yeah. Can he reverse sweep Arne? Is it gonna happen?
It would be awesome. It would be a good swing on this evening, because we're only a little bit away in this second hour of Hearthstone on a Thursday evening of ESL Benelux Championship. It's gonna be the fourth match between Harmen and Arne.
Yes. Hunter is gonna be a rough one for Harmen against Shaman, because he plays double Camel, etc. That Camel is 100% useless against Shaman because you give him a Tunnel Trog or an Argent Squire, and that's not what you want, right?
No, that's definitely not what you want. But we see the second Katoon Druid of the night, and Katoon is maybe making his way into the meta, the competitive meta. And we see a pretty okay opening here for the Druid. Has a Beckoner of Evil and the Disciple of Katoon that he can use to challenge the board of the Shaman and even remove enough of his minions. But those Azure Drakes are a little bit too slow. But that Wrath, that draw here at the first turn is pretty good.
Yeah, you're just going out Wrath there, I guess. You have to remove that Tunnel Trog as fast as possible. But he decides to go for Beckoner of Evil, and that's pretty risky because you knew you play against a Shaman who has like Rock Biters and Lightning Bolts.
But you know that it's Harmen. We know that Harmen likes its risky plays. We've seen it last week. And if you want to win, you have to sometimes take risks, and he decides to do that. The question is here, do you go for Wrath for 1 for the draw, or do you go Wrath for 3 and make sure that that totem of Arne disappears as well? I would go for the, or he even goes for the Wild Growth.
Yeah, he goes for Wild Growth. I think it's a little bit too risky though, because turn 3 is normally Feral Spirits, but Arne doesn't have it, and he goes for Tuskar. If he goes to get the Flame Tongue Totem, ooh, it's the Mana Tide Totem. And that's pretty hard for Harmen, because you wanted probably to play the Disciple on the...
Wow, and that's a really big draw. Wow. That swipe here is just in time. But he decides not to play it yet. He can play it later on. He might even draw with that Wrath. But you go for the Disciple of Katoon to get more on the board. That swipe he wants... Do you want to play it right now?
Yeah, definitely. Because next turn if you have Disciple of Katoon Wrath on curve, and if you go for Wrath now, you have 2 hero power besides that, and then you're playing like pretty hard off curve, and it's pretty difficult to come back then.
Yeah, but the problem for Harmen is that Arnie is drawing a lot of cards from that Mana Tide Totem. He even has another one in hand, and he's drawing into more and more options. He's a little bit overloaded right now, but he has enough mana. He has 3 mana to spend next turn, and he could even spend that on that Mana Tide Totem. And then that Bloodlust becomes pretty interesting.
Yeah, but Harmen knew he had the Disciple of Katoon and the Wrath to deal with it, even if Arne played some towns. So we're probably gonna see your Disciple of Katoon, Wrath for 3 on one of the Feral Spirits. But the problem with all these plays are from Harmen is he can remove 1 or 2 things, but he's not coming back. He's not making a tempo swing. He's still behind on board. He decides to put 2 damage on the Feral Spirits here.
He's gonna remove the Feral Spirits, gonna trade into that one. Next turn he has a Dark Arakoa to contest the board. And that's the whole thing with the Druid nowadays. They have pretty big taunt minions, and if you cannot deal with them as a Shaman, well, you're gonna lose the board eventually.
Yeah, and Arne is thinking about playing the second Mana Tide Totem to get so many cards, and Harmen is already running out of cards. He only has 3, while Arne has like 8 or 9 cards next turn. Can Harmen develop something that big that Arne cannot deal with later in the game?
That is the question. There's a Primal Fusion card that's also pretty big for Arne. He looks to have this game pretty locked down, but the Crazed Worshipper might have something to say about that.
Yeah, Arne has a really big hand with cards though, but he doesn't have any Hex or something or Earthshock to deal with that town, so yeah, what is he gonna do about it?
Are you gonna Bloodlust? You need that as maybe as a finisher. He might even play his 3rd Mana Tide Totem?
Is that a little bit too risky? If Harmen leaves that up, all those 3, you're probably gonna overdraw like your entire deck and losing on fatigue every... So I think that's a little bit too risky. Do you just play the totem here and go for Thing from Below?
Well played.
Lol. Oh, he's going for Primal Fusion probably.
He might go for Primal Fusion, but next turn he has that Thunderbluff Valiant. He can slam that one down and buff all his totems. So he might overdraw for 1, but he can buff all those Mana Tide Totems next turn and make sure he draws into some solutions.
He can even go for Flame Tongue Totem Bloodlust next turn and go for lethal. Wow. All these mana tide totems. Giving so many cards to Arne. Is there a way Harman can deal with everything? He picked up the Katoon though, and it's already 13-13 I guess, or 15-15? Something like that, so if Harman can hold on till turn 10, maybe he can find a way of dealing with everything, because Harman doesn't have the Hex, so he has no way of dealing with a 15-15 minion.
Yeah, he can play both those Flametongue Totems. He has a Primal Fusion, can even... well, he has so many options to choose from because he has 3 mana totems on the board. But he doesn't want to keep them, because if he keeps those totems on the board, it's going to be too much draw for him.
Yeah,
Is there something like too much draw?
Yeah, it's insane. He's drawing 3 cards, but even the thing from below for 0 mana, 5-5 for 0 mana. He has a 7-6 Divine Shield. This is ridiculous, right? Harman is in such a bad spot. He must think like, oh my god, what's happening to me, man? 3 mana tide totems, a 9-6 Ardent Horse Rider, a 5-5 for 0 mana. Yeah, he's saying spectacular here. Yeah, it's pretty spectacular, right?
Yeah, he's drawing his whole jacket. Looks like a Miracle Rogue, but then with totems. And
wow. He drew 9 cards more than the Druid.
But next turn, yeah, with the Bloodlust, it's game unless the Azure Drake draws into something, but I don't know what that is gonna be. You can draw into a Disciple of Katoon that you can still use.
Yeah, you can literally draw nothing here. He has to go for Drake into Wrath on the Flametongue Totem. That's a chance he has. Innervate into another Drake. Well, why didn't he innervate a minion here? Oh, he wants to innervate the Katoon probably next turn.
Yeah, but there's the Bloodlust, and that means that Arne is gonna seal this game. That means that he goes up 2-0 in the ESL Benelux Championship. He defeats RUZ3.HARMEN, and that was the game.
Yeah, well done by Arne. Really well played.